These are my friends, Sunny and Joe.
Hi!
They have channels here too. Sunny travels on YouTube, and then Joe does gaming stuff. Houdinio Gaming on Twitch and YouTube, if you guys want to check out their channels too. Today we're here with a very special doggy named Khione. Here in Japan, if you want to adopt a pet, like a cat or a dog, and you're a foreigner, it can be really, really difficult because most places will not adopt to foreigners because they assume you're going to leave the country and then abandon the animal. I'm sure that has happened before and they're just trying to think in the animal's best interest, but it makes it almost impossible to adopt an animal here. So June and I had that conversation where they were like, well, you're a foreigner, you're going to leave the country, and we were like, no, we're not, we're going to stay here, and even if we did, we would take our cats with us. And then after that, her second excuse was, well, you guys are young, so you're going to have a baby, and then you're going to abandon the cat. And we were like, no, that's not what we do.
It makes no sense.
So every foreigner I know here in Japan who has tried to adopt an animal has had that happen. And then most recently, Sunny and Joe were trying to adopt a dog. And do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so initially what we did was we went on, and our cats are wandering all around our feet, by the way. Initially what we did was we went on the websites for different shelters. We rescued both of our cats, so we're adamant about rescuing animals, and we didn't want to support the pet industry here. So we emailed them, and we had June check our Japanese, well, Joe's Japanese.
My Japanese.
And we got the response, the same kind of response that Rachel and June got, which was, well, your name is foreign, even though the whole thing was in Japanese, and Joe didn't even mention that we were foreigners because we were nervous about that outcome. But they saw our names, and they once again said, are you planning on living in Japan forever? They asked Joe if his wife was Japanese, and it was just those responses of like, you're gonna leave the animal. To me, that's not logical, because we actually explained that we did 2 international moves with the cats previously. So we told them we moved from America to Scotland to Japan with the cats. So why would we suddenly abandon, but it didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. And then eventually they would just stop replying to our emails.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. Yeah. It's really, really frustrating because I feel like all of the foreigners I know are even more obsessed with making sure they adopt pets that need help rather than going to a pet store.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a huge thing in the West now. A lot of people are aware and they want to treat their pets really well. Absolutely. They want to make sure animals are being treated well. But it's just almost impossible here in Japan because they won't adopt to you.
Yeah.
But here in Fukuoka, there is a woman.
We had a connection.
Do you guys want to explain the woman? I've never met her. I've just heard the stories.
But you're gonna meet her today potentially because
oh my god, I'm finally gonna get to meet the woman.
Yeah. If she's still where we're going after this video.
She's an eccentric woman. I think that's the word we.
She has a great heart and it's in the right place, but eccentric for sure. For sure, eccentric.
Yeah. She's not your typical Japanese woman.
No, definitely not. But basically, actually, when we were in Thailand, there was an Instagram post by Michaela, another YouTuber in Fukuoka, the original Fukuoka YouTuber.
Right. She's been here more than 10 years.
Yeah. So she posted the footage of the puppy mill and was like, we need people that want these dogs. All of a sudden, all of these dogs at this puppy mill were up for adoption and they didn't have enough people to take care of them. And so it was like a call to action emergency situation. So I showed the footage to Joe and he just looks at me and he's like, are we getting a dog? And I was like, I think we're getting a dog. So I contacted Michaela. Michaela has connections in the rescue industry, basically. Here.
She kind of knows everyone.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And it's the same woman who fostered Sara, her new, well, not new, she's a senior dog, but she's a poodle and she's so cute. So she hooked us up, basically. Yeah. We met Michaela and this foster mom in a park. Well, first we had to convince her that we were worthy of being met, basically.
It sounds so sketchy. I hear all the detail.
Yeah, it's almost like a drug deal thing. Like,
it's backstreet, like pet dealing.
I know.
I can hook you up with a dog.
That's literally what it is, though.
It is.
Which is so funny. But yeah, so we met at a park, and it was, at that time her name was Koyuki, and another dog, Lewis, who had seizures and he had epilepsy and a few things. But we didn't know about that. We didn't know about her leg or anything like that until after we walked them and we talked to the foster mom, we talked to each other, and basically we spent the time apart with the two dogs to really get a feel for their personalities, and then came together and discussed which dog would be the best fit for us. And then we also talked to the foster woman and said, which dog do you think would be the best fit for us? And I don't know if it was just based on the fact that our apartment's larger, so we could get the larger dog.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But we all agreed that Koyuki, now Khione, was the dog for us. But then she needed some more time to think about it.
Yeah.
And she needed some more convincing from Michaela mostly. And then a week later, she said, okay, you can do a trial week with her. And so she came over to the apartment. She checked out the apartment to see how big it was. We sent her a bunch of pictures of all the supplies and all the toys and all the everything that we were buying for her when we didn't even know if we were going to be able to get this dog, spending hundreds of dollars. To make sure that we had everything that she needed, and yeah.
Well, the first real issue we ran into with this woman was that she asked if we were staying in Japan forever. And
she asked so many times.
We said initially, well, we're in Japan for at least another 2 to 3 years, and then we want to go back to Europe. That was not the right answer to give her. And I think that opened up a big can of worms of explaining and trying to convince her that, we're going to take the dog with us. We're not going to abandon the dog. And
we said we would give her bank statements. We said we would show her how much we've spent previously for the cats, moving the cats, and to prove that we did 2 moves with the cats.
You guys spent an insane amount, taking the cats.
Yeah.
America to Scotland, $4,000. Scotland to Japan, with the company that we hired, was $7,000 for the 2 cats. It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. It's 100% worth it.
Yeah, easily.
But yeah, we were trying to convince her that they're part of our family. Mm-hmm. There's no way that we would do anything. First of all, if we couldn't afford to move, we wouldn't be moving.
Right.
We would just stay another year or until we could afford it.
Right.
But she really didn't seem convinced. I wanted to be really clear about it. I wrote that I studied my master's in Scotland in animal biology and wildlife conservation, and I I listed out all of this stuff that we've had dogs previously, that we haven't, that we've done the international moves, blah blah blah, and then her response was, please stay in Japan forever.
Yeah.
But it ended up working out, and basically Michaela had to promise her that if Sunny and Joe left the country, that she would take care of Khione. Because
and our cats.
And our
did you
cats.
know that? I didn't know. As if Michaela needs more animals, first of all. But she actually sent Michaela, and Michaela sent me a screenshot that she said, I need to talk to you about Sunny and Joe and their cats. And I was like, gosh. Why is she talking to you about our cats that we've had for 6 years now? What? So
it's just a thing here. Japanese people just can't imagine foreigners taking animals with them. But in the end, Michaela was super, super helpful.
Yes.
Michaela's she adopted Sarah from this woman, and then this woman just is constantly trying to give Michaela animals. I think she just texts Michaela all the time, I have a new dog. Do you want this dog? Here's this dog. This is a really nice dog.
Oh my god. I couldn't imagine that. Like, luckily, we can use our landlord as an excuse pretty easily here that we can't get another dog.
Nope, we already have 3 pets.
Our family is complete now.
But anyway, they got Khione, and Khione was from a puppy mill, where like she was used as a breeding dog. So she had lots of babies, and then at some point she broke her leg, and they never got her treatment for it. So it healed really incorrectly.
Basically, she broke both of the bones in her left front leg, and also the joint that, like, see this joint right there? That one's perfect, but that one not so much. So she's not in pain anymore. It's an old break that healed on its own, so it healed incorrectly, and now her leg bends at a terrible angle. And because it also broke the joint, the other joints in her legs are trying to compensate for that joint, and it's just causing more damage throughout her body. So at this point, if we don't get it fixed, they anticipate severe arthritis when she's older, and we'll definitely have to have probably not the same surgery if we don't get that surgery done now, but she will need some surgery as she becomes more of a senior dog, and then it becomes really high risk.
Right. Right now, they're recommending like a really intensive surgery to fix her leg.
Yeah. So what they need to do is, because the bones are healed, we can't get them to fuse or to bond together. So they're going to have to open her leg up, and where the breaks are, they're going to have to saw through and reopen those. That way it will try to heal again. But that, if it healed to its own bones, it would be missing a piece. So one leg would be shorter than the other, and it would still cause issues within her body, having to try. I know.
Poor girl.
I know. So what we're gonna have to do is she has to get a bone transplant from another dog, I'm assuming a cadaver, and then she also has to get her own bone marrow transplanted from either her shoulder or her hip into that area, which I've heard is so painful, and that breaks my heart. And then they're gonna have to hold everything together with a lot of metal plates and screws until it heals. So they're anticipating the 3 surgeries. So the first surgery is to do all that. Then after 45 months of not walking at all, she's not going to be allowed to go for any walks, which is her favorite thing in the whole world. She loves the grass, and she loves going outside, and she loves exploring the streets, and it makes her so happy. But yeah, so you know how like 50% of the strollers in Japan, you're like, is it a dog? Is it a baby? Like, it's a 50-50 chance. So we might end up being those people that have a little
dog stroller? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I really want to see that.
I really think it would make her happy while she's healing. So I think we have to.
We won't be able to scrunch her up into one of like the shoulder carry things, because we can't do that to her leg. So
it won't, I don't think it's going to be able to bend for that time.
Who's drooling so much?
Is she drooling?
This is all wet.
Oh, good girl. So then the second surgery is going to be 6 months after the first, and it's going to be removing the screws and the plates. And then they said that there's going to be a third surgery that you said when June called that the third surgery may not be required.
I think they said so the second surgery removes the metal plates and stuff, and if that all heals perfectly fine, then they won't have to do a third surgery. But there may be a chance that they'll need to do a third one just to like do any final little fixes.
Okay, so this is what happens when you have the English interpreter there versus when it's just directly in Japanese. You get more information. So June was kind enough to call and get a ton of information and ask a bunch of questions for us as well.
Like the anesthesia risk. Growing, I don't know when it changed.
I agree. I was freaking out about that. Yeah, I'm so glad you did that research.
Like, well, when I was growing up, like putting an animal under anesthesia was really, really dangerous. There was a big chance that they probably weren't going to come back.
Yeah.
But apparently, at some point in time, it switched to like more than 99% safe.
Yeah.
So like more now, it's actually totally fine.
Yeah.
For dogs to be under
And
anesthesia.
the idea, originally they told us one surgery, and then they called us later because she has to see a specialist in another prefecture. They have to transport her all the way to Oita, and it's a specialist in orthopedics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and orthopedics
Dog
specialist. Yeah, dog orthopedics. Doctor.
How do you even get into that?
I don't know.
That's a great specialty.
But yeah, good for him. So the first time that they talked to us about it was without consulting him, and then they called him and they called us back after speaking to him to give us more details. And he said it needs to be most likely 3 surgeries based off his experience. So I started panicking because the idea of her going under once under anesthesia just was so scary to me. And like after all she's been through, I didn't want to add more pain to her. But I talked to the doctors, and basically if we don't do it, it's a much higher risk of issues in the long run. And if we do it now while she's young, she's 3 years old, she'll be able to recover pretty fast and then potentially live the rest of her life like a normal, happy dog.
Happy dog.
Yeah.
She's already a happy dog.
She's a really happy dog now.
Now she has a limp, and we want to.
Yeah, especially when you're in grass, right?
So they said she should be totally healed within like a year. It's ish.
Yeah.
But it's just a complex series of surgeries, and the first one especially because it's so intense, and they have to go to this like out of prefecture specialist. It's going to cost like up to $4,000.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent surgeries are going to be like 400-ish, they were suggesting.
Yeah.
And then she has to go in every now and then for checkups,
And she has to stay at the vet for 2 weeks after the first surgery. And they said that she's going to be under anesthesia for a long time. So even though it's the 99% come out of it, the longer that she's under, the higher the risk. So that's going to be the biggest one. And because of that, she's obviously not spayed because they wouldn't do that in the puppy mill. So we're going to have to wait. We were hoping to do it at the same time so that she could only go under once. But now we're going to have to do that during the second or potentially the third surgery. Yeah. I love this baby.
the first surgery was going to take too long, I think. So she can't even get fixed soon, which is sad. She's in heat right now, and she's like, she's really into other dogs. Poor thing.
The first week of it, she was mounting other dogs, and like we're like pulling her off of them. Like, what are you doing?
She's
You're
like,
the girl.
You have to do it like this.
It's an adventure. Every day is an adventure.
So like Sunny was texting me about all of this and like the surgeries, and she was gonna do it like for sure. I know you guys like I know how much you spent on your cats. It wasn't even a question of it. And then I suggested that they do a fundraiser because that's what we did with Pokey when we found Pokey, and he had a lot of stuff going on. You guys helped raise the money for that, which we were eternally grateful for. And so I suggested that they do a fundraiser as well because like they'll do it eventually, no matter what, but they're English teachers and it is not an extravagant lifestyle in Japan.
If you know anything about teaching English in Japan, they're always like, you can live, you can't save. Like, so yeah, basically we've already canceled a trip in August. We know that the vet said you can take a couple years and save, but the longer we wait, the worse her other joints are going to get. So we do feel that time pressure of we need to do this as soon as we can, because I just want the pain part of her life to be done and over with, and something that she never ever has to deal with ever again. I'm sorry. Every time I think about what she's endured, it just really upsets me. Because she's just so sweet and important.
So we're doing a fundraiser. If you got, you absolutely don't have to, but if you want to help, cats.
No,
It's
actually
just
that's
windy.
the wind.
Just win? Oh, okay. If you guys want to help, we would be so grateful. Absolutely no pressure. But
No, like seriously, you're not even my subscribers most likely. Some of our subscribers are the same subscribers, but like we don't expect anything but any help that any kind-hearted stranger who also loves animals would want to give. Like it would be so appreciated, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, I know my audience. Like, we build an audience around our cats, basically. So I know we all love animals. So I wanted to help and support. Yeah, poor girl.
And Rachel fell in love with her so fast.
She's
too.
so sweet. She's so cute. But it is like, it's almost painful to watch her walk because of the break on her leg. It's like if this was the normal joint where she walks, it's like out here.
Yeah.
Now, and it looks so bad. And the vet says she's not in pain, but she won't put any weight on that leg.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like walking on it. So
yeah. And then she also, after really long walks, we noticed that her limp gets worse and worse, like progressively. The more that she has to use it, the worse that it gets. So I'm guessing it's just exhausting for her. Like, she'll still definitely do it because she loves her walks.
I trust the vet, but I can't imagine she's not in any pain. I mean, just imagine you broke both bones in your arm and you're now using that break as another joint. It just it sounds painful even after however long.
It's not a joint. It's not even a joint. It's
Yeah.
just like a broken bone.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not supposed to put.
So I trust the vet, but I don't know how much I believe. I don't know. It's really weird.
Sunny will be like making lots of updates about her on her channel, Sunny Travels, everything. So you can see like how she's progressing and her surgery updates and everything.
Yeah. So we have to wait until her heat's over. Most likely 3 weeks after her heat is over is when we can do the first surgery. So that's going to probably not be until late June. And then the second surgery after that, we have to wait 6 months. So it's not going to be something that happens quickly, and it's a year until she's fully healed. So it's definitely going to, there's not going to be updates like every single week.
Right.
just as a heads up. But there's already a video out with a lot more details about how we got her and her progress and everything too. Because she's a good girl and I love talking about her.
She's super sweet. I love her a lot already. But anyway, I just wanted to make a video about it because I really want her to get her surgery.
And she might end up being in more videos with you because she's gonna come over your place
I
and meet cats.
I really want to introduce her to our cats
and see how that goes. She's good with cats.
Yeah, it seems like she is.
Yeah.
And I feel like Haku could be okay with with her because she's not gigantic. She's like she's much fluffier, but she's like maybe roughly the same size as Haku.
Yeah.
6 kilos.
We'll see. Oh yeah, the same weight. So anyway, we'll update more about that too later on, but we're going to America now, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for helping and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.